Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us again for another Women's Disability Show. I'm your host for the day, Brianna Wheeler. Today, we are going to switch it up and we are going to dig deeper into Jessica's story and ask her some questions and find out what happened the day that she was injured and her rehab stay and kind of just more questions like that. So if you guys are joining us or anybody has any questions inside of the chat, please feel free to throw them in there. I might not say it right when we're talking about it, but we'll go back and we'll discuss it. And then the same thing for us too. We'll just write down some notes and take note of different things. And then when you're ready to stop talking and telling your story, you just let us know, girls. So we're excited to hear more. So I think that we'll just let you go first, and then we'll do introductions when we're gonna start talking. So Jessica, take it away, girl.
All right. Thank you so much. Um, this is very different, but my name is Jessica Brito, and I was injured 11 years ago from a car accident. So I can't say that I remember my accident. 11 years ago, I was 21 years old, a single mom to a 4-year old. I was a full time student at Cal State Fullerton, and I was also working almost full time. It was summer session, and being a single mom and just working and running around like crazy, I was young and I loved going out and partying. And so the week of my accident, I was running on like maybe 15 hours of sleep the whole week. And I was working like 10-hour days, and I was taking summer sessions. So it was just really intense. I would go out clubbing, and then I would take my laptop and I'd do homework on my way to the club and on my way home. And I was always up super early, because of my child. When you have a toddler, you kind of have to do that. Um, and just that whole environment made it really hard for me. And the day of my accident, I had worked a 10-hour shift. I went out with girls from work, which I never really did because our job didn't really bring us together enough to do that. I was a tutor. So I was usually in the homes with the kids, not really in the office. And I was in the office in LA, and I actually live in Orange County. So we went out. A lot of people ask the question, Jessica, were you drunk? Right. And I always say that not technically, but I can't say that I wasn't under the influence of something, right? Um, so I was really tired, and we went out, we went to dinner, and then we went to a party. And I remember having like two, three drinks, and it was like 10, and I wasn't driving. Um, and then we went to dinner to Denny's, like, I guess like 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. And again, I still wasn't driving. And I guess I remember doing all of that. And then I remember we got to my friend's house. I dropped her off, and I was just really tired, but I had to wake up early because my son had a birthday party the next day, and I still had to get the gift. Like your mom brain is just go, go, go. And so I remember getting in the car and just thinking, I'm really tired, right? But I don't remember driving. So, according to the car that was behind me, I had been driving for about 30 minutes when I started swerving to the middle lane, and then it seemed like I just like turned the wheel fast. I was on the 5, so I had already been driving for about 20, 30 minutes. And he said he had been driving behind me for a while, and I was going normal speed limit, no swerving, no issues. And so what they think is that I fell asleep and started merging into the middle lane, woke up, tried to turn the wheel, but my car was small, so I hit a road construction sign. and my car flipped forward 4 times. So usually cars roll to the side, but the impact of the back coming to the front, they said is probably what did it. And the roof collapsed and it snapped my neck. So I ended up C6, C7 incomplete. And I don't remember. They said that the cops got there, gave me the phone. I called my mom and I was like, they're taking me to the hospital. I'll see you there. I don't remember any of it. They said I was awake the whole time. Being in the hospital, I remember seeing family starting to kind of trickle in. So I remember like my mom's face, then like a cousin, then like my sister. But that week is like it's foggy. I do remember they were wondering if they were gonna have to trach me. And so all they did was I had a tube down my nose and I just because I was choking because I guess I had to throw up. And I just remember telling myself, like, don't choke, don't choke, don't choke, don't choke, because I wanted them to get the tube out. And I just remember for like 2 days promising I wouldn't choke if they just got rid of that tube down my nose. And somehow, like, I did it. Um, and when I finally kind of came to, it was like a couple days in. And I just remember not really understanding. I I knew I was paralyzed. I just didn't understand what that meant. I just thought that meant I wouldn't be able to walk. Um, so I didn't understand that I was a quad and that my hands weren't going to work either. And the way my injury happened, I have damage on C3 and C4. Mainly, I think C4. And so they kept saying that my left arm wouldn't come back because of the damage on C4. But that the right arm would be better. So I just thought that my right arm would be fine and that it was my left arm that I might need surgery because they were talking about like the tendon switch. And so I just thought the right arm was going to come back. And I was just really happy to be alive. I was happy that I was okay. Um, like I remember that week, my coworkers came to visit, my bosses, and I was still talking about work, like, hey, here are the files that you guys need, and da da da. And just very much thinking everything would go back to normal, except I probably might be in a chair, but I was just thankful. I do remember because I have a close relationship with God, like talking to a priest and just, being like kind of distressed with God, but thankful, like very, very thankful that He kept me here and because of my son. And we were telling my son that I was on a work trip so that he wouldn't worry. Um, and just thinking, like, okay, well, I have to get back up and doing what I need to do. But the actual realization about my hands didn't come until I was transferred. And it was interesting because I was at UCI for my surgery and they weren't sure where I was going to do rehab. So then my mom started looking at all the rehab hospitals and she obviously wanted me to go to Rancho, but it was in LA. And she ended up getting me in St. Jude. And she just kept telling everyone, like, we need to move her. We need to move her. Like, she can't be sitting. She can't be laying there all day. And I remember, yeah, by like the first week, I was too out of it to realize anything. And then the second week, I was like finally like going crazy. Um, and we didn't know it at the time, but I have ADHD, but we didn't know. All my mom always knew was Jessica can never stop moving or then we're in trouble. Like, that's all we knew. We just didn't know why. Um, and actually, my car accident is what led to my ADHD diagnosis because I think they thought I had a brain injury or something because I have like I jumped from thought to thought. So they had a neuropsych evaluate me like for weeks, and she ended up just telling me, "Hey, you have really bad ADHD. How are you in college?" And I didn't know that. Um, so I found that out. But they transferred me to St. Jude to do my inpatient rehab, and I was set like, by next year I'll be walking and everything will be back to normal. Like I understand I have an injury and I'm sick. But it was more of like an illness belief, like, and I think it's a lot in my culture, right? The Latino culture, it's like, oh, she's sick. So that's kind of just what I thought. And I was like, oh, I have to be patient. It's going to take about a year. But in my mind, I would just work out a lot, do everything they told me, and eventually I would walk, especially because I'm an incomplete injury. So when I woke up, I could still feel. And probably within a month, I was already like, I had a lot of spasms. And, when you first get your spasms, you're really hopeful, like, oh, I can move my legs, and it's like, no, you're spasming. And so, yeah. And finally, like 3, 4 weeks in, we kept talking about my hands, and the realization of my hands came in. I just broke. That broke me. I was in tears. I could not stop crying. When my mom got to the hospital that night, because she stayed with me the whole time, I was like, "Did you know my hands aren't gonna work?" And I was just crying and crying, and she was crying. And yeah, I think the legs were something that I was like, okay, I can give it time and I'll be back to normal. But the hands are what killed me. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to like carry my child and change them. And I mean, I have a lot of help, but it was just like, what am I gonna do? And so, yeah, I think the hardest part for me was my hands. But rehab wise, I was like, as long as you guys keep moving me, I'll be happy. And I got really committed to just working out and recovery at that point. So I did 5 weeks at St. Jude. Um, my room was always filled with people. I was all over the hospital. Again, I have ADHD, so sitting still and not doing anything was not going to happen. So I was up and down everywhere. They had me in a power chair, so I was pretty independent that way. It took me about, I want to say about 3 weeks to be able to like feed myself, obviously with like certain utensils that would work. My son was already going to the hospital. They had a psychologist like kind of explained to him what had happened, and he was staying with his dad's family while I was an inpatient. And then, yeah, I mean, going home was something that I was looking forward to. And even like just being in the hospital, because I was so stuck on I'm gonna walk again, I'm gonna walk again. It's gonna take a year. I was looking up everything. Like, I had already taken a lot of bio classes, and I was like looking at stem cells. I was looking at different treatments, different therapies. So I was just one of those people that really clung to like every type of therapy and every type of method to start walking again. Um, and leaving the hospital was something I was kind of scared of. And my thing is because I was controlling, and I just couldn't imagine how like I was gonna let people take care of me and do everything for me. And I mean, we had a pretty good system. My mom taught my aunts how to transfer me. I know I've talked about it on here, but like all my friends learned how to cath, my cousins, my sisters. And I was very open to that. But like the day to day things, I knew I was going to blow up. Like, I'm very impatient and I flip. Like, I'm mean too. And so it just, I was studying to be a teacher, but they say therapists are kind of like it's a calling, and I could read people, and so I was mean. Like I knew where to cut you, and I knew it was going to be hard Because with nursing, like I held back. Like I would never be rude, right? But if it's my mom, my aunts, like you guys are gonna hear it. So when we came to do the home visit, it was such a reality. Like our shower was not conditioned at all. Um, and like even doorways, some of them seemed too small. And so that was the scary part. Like, how do they send you home without first fixing your house? And I don't think a lot of people realize that, yeah, that's how they're going to send you home. Um, Shit, working at Rancho, I found out we send people to homeless shelters. And it's like, how do you send a freaking quad to a homeless shelter? But you do.
Mhm.
And people don't realize that. So, yeah, it was scary to go home and realize that we weren't going to have all the things we needed. I didn't even get to go home with the power chair, I think. I can't really remember. But they sent me home in a power chair because I still couldn't push a manual. And again, like a lot of the rehab things, like I hated OT because it didn't make sense to me. Like, why are you going to teach me to dress myself? Like, as I get better, I should be able to do it myself. Like, right? It just, and I'm going to walk again. So why am I going to have to learn all these things? So, yeah, the denial was pretty strong, especially that first year.
So how long did it take you for it to go away? Was it the disabled community that helped you? Like when did you start meeting other people in chairs and like really changing your mindset?
Well, so there is a thing about what people in wheelchairs you're coming across, right? Um, so as soon as I got out of the hospital, I was doing 2 days of PT a week and OT. And then I found Goodwill Fitness which is a gym that was completely accessible. And I did that the other 3 days of the week. Um, and so right away, like probably 2, 3 weeks after being home, I was already working out and things like that. So I was already meeting people in chairs. And I met the first guy I met in a chair. Probably took him about 4 years to get out of that belief that he was going to walk again, right?
Mhm.
But he had done like Project Walk and all these things. So he was like, and at that point, I could already kind of move my legs a little. Like I could wiggle my toes. So he was like, yeah, you're totally going to walk. And
Mhm.
then I started Project Walk probably like a year after my injury, a year and a half. And everyone there is going to walk again, right? So it's like meeting people in chairs is not what solves the problem of are you getting out of this denial, because I was around people who had the same mentality, and I don't want to take that away from anyone, right? I will say that my denial really helped. We As a therapist, I know the power behind denial. I trained so much and worked out so much that I'm fully independent, and I have to say it's because of how much work I've done. But it probably took about 2 years to realize that living was more important than walking. And
Mhm.
I remember like year one, my PT saying, "So when are you going to live?" And just being in shock. Like, you don't live like this, like, when I get better, like, that's when I'm going to live. And my child was just like, we're going from therapy to therapy to therapy. And like, he's like, "Mommy, let's play. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. So, but it was the people I was around, like they all had the same mentality. And again, I don't want to take that away from anyone, but I know people that have been injured for 7 years and are still on that path. And don't get me wrong, like I'm probably not, I don't believe you won't walk again, because I can get up and do 200 steps with ankle braces, and that took me 10 years. So I don't know. Like I don't know what that looks like, but I know that right now I'm not walking, and I know that right now I'm in a chair, and I know that right now I'm gonna live this life. So year
Mhm.
2, 2.5, when I went back to school, it was hard because I had to sit down and tell my family, like, hey, I'm gonna live now. Like I said, I was working out 7 days a week. I found like even alternative things. I've done so much stuff. I've done like laser treatments. I've done acupuncture, chiropractors, even like sobadoras, which is like a Latin thing. Latinos do more of the holistic care. I've done it all, and yeah, probably 2.5, where I was like, okay, this is where I am, and
Yeah.
this is where I'm gonna be. So
Love it. Okay, Amber gave us a super sticker and she also said, love listening to Jessica's perspective. Thank you so much for joining, Amber. I love listening to her perspective as well. Hi, Ruby. Thank you for joining us. Anybody who's joining in now, we are doing Jessica's story today and just kind of digging in and asking her more questions. If you have any specific questions for her, just throw them in the chat box. Don't be embarrassed. If we're moved on to another section, don't worry about it. We can go back and cross over again on what you're thinking or how you're feeling. So make sure to utilize that. And let's see. So, Ashley and Nikki, do you have any questions for Jessica? Any specific questions, or if you want to ask her one on the list? Oh, you guys are muted.
Okay. When I see you on the X. I think a question I had was just since we're years out and we're gonna be 3 years soon. Like, what advice would you give to like a newly injured quad or someone in your position? I guess.
um I would say find balance. I am the biggest advocate for working out and getting stronger. You're in a brand new body, and it's really about learning to use what you have and learning to see how you can do things. So find balance in continuing to work on your recovery, but also living life. Like, I think I've lived my life to the fullest, and that's with or without a chair. So just find that balance where, I started going back to school, and I still worked out and did therapy twice or three times a week. And um, I still went out with my friends, and I still took the time to be a mom. And it's about the balance. Like, and also keep in mind that where you are today is not where you'll be in a year. Every year things change, and when you first get injured, and even now that I'm 11 years in, I'm like, how can you tell someone that your recovery period is 6 months to 2 years? It's really not. And it's because throughout the years your body will change, you will change, and you will learn to use it more and more. So remember that each year you keep growing and evolving physically, mentally, and that's what matters. It's not about where you are today. Hope
Yeah,
that
I love that.
helps.
That's so important. Of course, I had a question inside and I had to follow up, but then I just got so stuck into what you were saying that I forgot about it. Jesus, hopefully it pops back into my head. Okay, Maya, do you have any specific questions for Jessica?
I do. Jessica, I was wondering, like, I know you don't remember very much of your car accident specifically, but did you have anxiety, like with car rides after your injury? And if so, how did you deal with that?
So, the first time I got in a car, I had some like, so PTSD is very interesting. Um, I have residual. So my subconscious knows the injury happened and the accident happened, but I don't know it, right? So I could be in a car and mentally I feel fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not scared. I'm not worried. But my body, I get a pain in my chest. I feel like I can't breathe. I really feel like I'm being suffocated. So kind of like a panic attack. Um, so the first car rides, that's what I was experiencing. And it's pretty interesting because as a therapist, now I know the things I was doing are actually what we train people to do who have been through trauma. And I talk to myself a lot. Like my kid, when he was like 2, he would walk around and he'd go, that's what my mommy does. I literally talk to myself like out loud, but like kind of whispering, you know?
Mhm.
And so I would do things like I would put my hand on my chest and I'd be like, I'd breathe and I'd be like, I'm okay. Like, I'm safe. I'm okay. Like, there's nothing wrong. Right. And because I don't remember the injury, but my body did. And I wasn't a therapist, but I understood that. Like, I understood that my body had the problem, you know? And so a lot of self-talk, grounding. So like when I would put my hand on my chest, like it's just a form of grounding. I didn't know that that was what it is, but just a lot of like talk to your body, make sure that you help it understand that it's safe and no longer going through the trauma. Um, and I did have one therapist that told me like, because when we were studying PTSD and I realized like, oh shit, I have all that. But it's not, I can't remember. So I mean, I don't have a conscious awareness of it, but my body knows, you know, like my body knows what happened. And so it's not even car rides. I can't hear metal hit metal. When I'm in the gym and someone drops a weight, I want to cry. And it's not me. Like I don't have memory of it. So I just get like a gaping feeling in here and I just and like I want to like the tears want to come out and but it's not conscious. I can't when things slam, it just, like my body reacts, you know. Um so in those moments that's what I do. Like I just ground myself. And I had a therapist tell me we can hypnotize you and just bring it out. And I that nope. And And well, my fear is that I won't drive again.
Mm.
Mm.
So I've totaled cars after that. So I'm a horrible driver. I've destroyed a car. I've already been into 2 major accidents since that one. And those I was like I didn't want to drive for like a month, 2 months, you know? Like I would do it if I had to, but I didn't want to drive. And it was a lot, again, a lot of self talk. Um, when I'm driving and I make left hand turns, I still can see someone slamming into my car. Like, so it still pops up. Uh, I'm very much of the mentality I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it scared. So that's kind of how I got through it. But I don't think I want to remember that accident. And I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or
It's hard to
Yeah.
fight against like your anxiety sometimes, but I love that fact that you say that, like, you still talk to yourself and reassure yourself that's okay. You don't stop living because you're feeling these emotions. You learn how to live through it, and that's so important. Thank you, Nicole, for our super chat. We appreciate you so much and love you with all our heart.
I love you.
I remembered what my question was. So you were talking about like living your life and everything. Do you experience pain at all?
all day. I'm in pain from my neck down to my last toe. So again, I never lost sensation.
Mhm.
So like, you see someone with drop foot and you're like, oh, they have drop foot. I can feel the ligaments and the tendons being pulled at all times. Um, So I feel pain all day, every joint, every ligament. I still go to chiropractors, massage therapists, because I am in constant pain. If I don't work out, I have shoulder pain, back pain. Working out actually reduces my pain, just because what I've noticed is if I straighten the muscles around my shoulders, I'm not in so much pain. And I'm a quad who dismantles my chair to get in and out of the car, which, if you look at shoulder studies, it's not recommended to do that just because you do cause a lot of damage to your shoulders if you're not working out. So as long as I work out 3, 4 days a week, and that's cardio, a lot of pushing and weightlifting, then I'm okay. Like I'm not in as much pain in my shoulders, and my back, but my legs, yeah, they're always in pain. But it's a lot of I don't what I don't have is neuro pain.
Okay,
So
okay. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, so you don't have like nerve damage, but you have spasms that you deal with.
all day, like my
Yeah.
spasms like never stop. So they like even right now when we're talking, I'm spasming,
Mhm.
but
That's how it is with
it,
my nerve pain, and, like, I wonder, like, it is such a battle, but it's like your will to live is more than, like, the pain that you're feeling. Is that what you feel like that it is? Or that you just found different outlets to, reduce your pain level?
mm, when I teach pain management, what I say is you'll either find ways to reduce the pain or you'll learn to live with it. It's like the sound the fridge makes. Your fridge makes a sound all day. You don't hear it. You know it's there. Or like air conditioning, like it's
Mhm.
there. We live with it. I think when I'm not in pain, that I'm like, oh, like that I notice because it's such a rare feeling. But I think for me, it's more of like my norm to be in pain. Obviously, like the days where your spasms are worse or your body's worse, like those days I might take a break. So I don't really get out of my chair except to get in my car. I'm in my chair like 12 hours a day. So I think when I'm in extreme pain, then getting out of my chair. I think we've talked a little bit about like CBD helps me sometimes.
Mhm.
Um, I don't smoke. Like I'm not a smoker, but I do have like I'll get like a vape that's like mostly CBD and it does help a little, but again, it doesn't take away the pain, which we all know. I mean,
Yeah.
and spasms too, like for me, spasms are like a double-edged sword. If you like, I've done like FES, functional electrical stim,
Mhm.
and that completely stops the spasms in my legs, but then I fall over. Like my blood pressure goes down, I'm weak, like my spasms keep me up. So
Mhm.
like
Yeah, that's interesting. You've learned how to navigate with it. Yeah, I feel like that's such an interesting topic. I get asked it like a lot by newly injured people too, and it kind of sucks because I remember having those same questions, and just like wanting it to go away and letting it stop you from living. And I feel like now this last year that I've gotten off a lot of my medications and I started like the shots side of my back, and like it's just exhausting to be in that much pain, and it's like hard. People don't realize how hard it is to battle back and forth with like, yeah, I want to do this, but it's like it's so physically hurts, and it's hard and it's like exhausting, and at the end of the night my whole body is vibrating in pain. I can literally feel my body throbbing, and it's like this is the price I have to pay for living, and like I feel like that battle can be very, very hard to come to terms with. And have found a lot of people end up giving into the pain and letting it take control of your life. And I feel like, unfortunately, it's a constant battle, and I'm sure, like Jessica said.
I think with pain too, a lot of people, like you said, you're getting off your medications, and it's like I I I was in a lot of pain one day from my back because of how bad my spasms were, and I was at work and I had ibuprofen in my purse, but I never take it. I don't even know why I had it. And I took one and then the pain reduced and I was like, "Oh shit, I totally forget that I can take ibuprofen." Like sometimes we don't take the medications too because I think there's such a stigma with painkillers.
Mhm. Yeah, I think for me it was like my body on medication. I like myself better without medication. So that was my dilemma. I do talk to people and tell people, don't worry about taking like a 5 milligram Norco if that's what you need. Your doesn't make you a drug addict. And we have to have those conversations. But for me, it's like I'm exhausted. I can't talk. I can't think right. I can't eat. My taste buds are gone. It's just all these ugly feelings that I feel with my medication. And it's like my doctor said, at this point, it's just about managing your pain, not making it go away, and
Yeah.
that thought can be very hard to come to terms with, but it's like something that you have to confront in order to move forward, I think.
Yeah, and I think alternative things do work. I mean, I've had that conversation with people too. Like, if I'm stressed and I'm going through a really tough time, I have more spasms, I am more in pain, and checking in with myself when my stress levels are really high. Um, meditation works as because meditation is more of like learning acceptance. And so it does help if you're doing it. I tell everyone just do 5 minutes, 3 minutes a day every morning when you wake up. If you go on YouTube and just do 3 minute mindful practice. But they say that meditation is actually more effective for pain management than medication. So, but it's a practice. So it's something you have to do
Mhm.
every day, not just when you're in pain to help reduce it. I know for my spasms, when I do it enough, then I do see a little bit of a difference. Yeah. So,
I
Yeah, I
remember
love that.
just when you told me when I reached out to you about my pain and you told me to meditate. And even though it doesn't like erase the pain, like I don't think anything ever will, because even like smoking weed for me doesn't. But
mm-mm.
it definitely makes you just like, I guess, like listen to your body when you're in pain. Like if I need a rest, like I don't know, it's like you kind of know the cues. Like, am I overdoing it? Can I do more? Like you kind of start to like, I don't know. That's what it's helped me with a lot. Yeah, connecting. Yeah, what she said. Your body.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think with like let's say body scans, sometimes you're like, how the fuck am I gonna do this? I can't feel this or I can't feel that, right? And I have to say that I know my body better than I would have ever known my body able-bodied.
Yes.
Like,
Mhm.
and I remember when I was in the hospital
Pros.
talking to the priest, and he was like, "You're not Superwoman. Like, you need to slow down, you know?" And we've had this conversation, right, Nikki? But for me, like, when I was in grad school, I would kill my body. I would not stop. And then when the end of the semester came and we'd have a break, I would get UTIs. I would be stuck in bed. I wouldn't be able to move. Like I would like the amount of stress I would put my body in, ridiculous. One time I was in the chair for 24 hours and I didn't
Jesus.
realize it. And
Damn.
I went to get in the shower and my body just like went crazy. Like I like almost flung out of the chair because I was like I had put my body through that much crap, you know?
Mhm.
But I've learned, especially with age, like I'm out. Like I'm gonna be in bed today. I'm gonna chill today. But I'm one of those people, like I'm go, go, go. And listening to your body is number one.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that that's an important factor that you just mentioned. Like, if I'm going to do an event where I'm going to have to get up and do this, that I'm going to make a commitment, like, to block out the pain. When they first told me that, I thought they were crazy. Like, don't think about your nerve pain and it won't be as bad. And I'm just like, okay, here I go. Like, how can I not think about this shit's like burning my legs, But it's true. Like, when your mind is busy, when you're doing other things, like, it isn't as focused on it, until you bring it back into your head and you're like, like, can I do this? And you doubt yourself, and like have to make up a rule like 1, 2, 3, like we got to do this. But also listening to your body and realizing because I went this hard, now I need to rest. Like, regardless
Mhm.
if there's a party I
Yes.
want to go to, or like, like there's something else like trying to make me do more, like, no, you need to rest this day in order to be productive for the next day, and I think like that's important too. Like, if you're having a big day coming up, to rest, to
Yeah.
heat pack your body or ice your body or whatever your techniques are, like really get into that mind frame, because you're going to be overdriving it, and that's like Jessica said, it's a balance. It's a constant balance that you have to learn with living your life and dealing with your new body, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to accept too sometimes that like that's another part of it, like just accepting the fact that your body does work differently than you were when you were able-bodied, and just accept it and take the time. Like you don't like I'm sure we all like were on the go. Like even Jessica said she was on the go when she was in the chair. Like you just have to accept the fact that your body doesn't work the same anymore, and it sucks, but it's just the reality.
Yeah, definitely. Oh,
I don't
wow.
know.
Did you have something else to say to that, Jessica?
Well, I have to say that it's true. The acceptance part is huge. And I feel like for anyone, right? Like accepting limitations is hard. And I will say though that learning how far you can push your body is important too, because it's like, it does help you grow and it does help you go further than you probably thought you could.
Mhm.
Uh, so remembering that as well.
Because you can use your pain as an excuse. You can use this injury as an excuse all day long, but where does that get you? If you just use it as an excuse day after day, then you're not
Yeah.
going to be any further where you want to be. And overall, that's what takes over your mental health. That's where you feel unproductive and unworthy and all these other things. So it's like so important to make those goals and to realize, like, yeah, it is going to be hard. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but I got to do it, you know? And like, that's
Yeah.
the important
And
part, I think.
it's like even like when you first get injured, right? Like I get in the chair at like 8 a.m. and I get out of the chair like at 10 p.m., right? And that's what, like 12, 14 hours. And I remember when I got injured, like I could do like 4 hours.
Mhm,
And so little by little, like your body will get stronger just because you find the limit and then you're like, can I do 30 more minutes? But again, listen to your body, accept that things need to shift, but also see how far you can push it.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. Amber says, thriving group of women no matter what. Oh, thank you, Amber. Appreciate it. And Caesar says, I see it as tricking my brain. I hit 5 years and it's still difficult to accept it. Of course, I feel like we talk about this again and again. It's like the burning question, like, when do you get better? Because, you just see people living their life. And so you feel like, if you feel this way and you think this way and you've been through all this trauma, how are you living? Like, I want to know the secret code. There is no secret code. Sorry. Like, you just got to keep on doing it. Keep on going. Fake it till you make it. Just you have to accept that you're always going to have these feelings and these thoughts. It depends on how you deal with them and how you move on with them and how you let them control your day, I feel like.
And I think acceptance is like a come and go thing where like you can have a day where you're just like, yes, I'm this badass in a chair. And you're like, okay, I'm fully in this acceptance stage. And then you wake up and have a UTI and you're just like, fuck this shit. Like I'm gonna do this the
Hmm.
rest of my life. So I think acceptance is one of those things that just know that you won't always be in that moment, but you will be in that moment,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
If there's a thought that I'm gonna feel like that all day, every day, it's just not realistic.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Love it.
it's definitely a roller coaster. I've had days where I've went through it. In the morning I'm in acceptance mode, and then by nighttime and my nerve pain is killing me, or my shoulder is killing me, or I'm aching from top to bottom and I'm just done. I'm like, are you kidding? This is every night. So it's
Mhm.
definitely a roller coaster. So just keep that in mind and always stay positive. Know that you will have a better day.
Keep pushing. I
Yeah.
love it so much. I'll take this time to plug in our sponsors. Make sure that you go check out urology professionals and mobility professionals. They are the shizness. They really help you out and they get things done. They understand our needs. They understand what we want. They understand how difficult other companies who don't have people in wheelchairs working for them, they don't understand how urgent it is that we need our urology supplies or we need a wheelchair that really fits us. And these companies really dedicate their time to understanding us and understanding our needs and understanding that we need it quickly and that we need it done right, and it's no worry to them. They just accept it as part of their job. It's not going back and forth on the phone and waiting and all this other nonsense that I've had to deal with for the past 5 years. It's really easy breezy. So make sure that you go check them out. They are an amazing company so much. We love them. Also, make sure that if you're in Los Angeles, the Abilities Expo is coming up in March. If you go to register for the Abilities Expo, make sure that you write that you got it from Live to Roll because that helps us out if you haven't already. And Maya, are you coming to the Los Angeles one?
I am. I will be there.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Yay! I love
Yeah.
that little noise. It always makes me want to dance like that. And thank you, Barbara, for our chat. I always want to call it a super sticker. I don't know why. A super chat. We really
I think it's
appreciate it so
both. They
much.
call it both. That's why.
Oh, is it?
You could do a
Look at
sticker or a
earlier was a
chat.
sticker. Look.
Thanks for sharing your experiences. Been a mom to a quad for 10 years now in New Hampshire. Oh, thank you for joining. We appreciate it so much. Yeah, Jessica's was amazing.
We love all the moms. You guys go through a lot. My mom's been through hell and back.
I know. Today I was on live with my brother, totally random, and we were reading a book and it was saying like how, your parents' beliefs shouldn't be your beliefs. And my mom's all in the chat like, "Oh, great. Everything's my fault." And I was just like busting up because I was like, we love you. We put so much like hardships on them, but in reality, weren't taught about this injury. They weren't taught about this life. They're learning with us. So we got to give them patience and we got to accept them growing as well into new people. So I think that's super interesting. So we're almost done. We have a couple questions. A couple more minutes. So Jessica, if you had to start your journey from day one, what is some top things that you would focus on first? So what would you say that you really wish you would have done? Or, as if it's as simple as eating or, as big as walking, like whatever it is.
I think for the most part, I wouldn't change anything of my journey except as a mental health professional. I would say, girl, get help. I I am really good at, well, I think most of us are, right? I remember being a mentor at Rancho and just being like, damn, we're all such good actors, like we all play the part of I'm okay. And just like I remember my they would send the psychologist and I would just have conversations like I'm fine. And it's like, no, you are not fine. So I think realizing that sooner, I think would have probably put me where I am now faster. But other than that, I think my journey itself, I wouldn't change much. But mental health, guys, mental health. Let's all be on it.
Yeah, I love that so much. I think that therapy is so important and they get such a bad rep. And, like when my perspective of it was, I'm not going to sit here and complain about my horrible life to somebody whose life is pitch perfect over there. Like, who the hell are you to tell me everything's going to be okay? Like, no, it's not. But like therapy is so much more than that. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. Like, your brain is scrambled up with all these thoughts and feelings and like kind of just talking it out. The therapist helps you put it all into order and put it into the right slots where everything's supposed to be and plug it into the right, I can't think of the right words I want to say right now, but they just help you put it together, I feel like. And we're not taught that growing up, so you have to accept that. It's not doesn't mean that something's wrong with with the way that you're thinking. It's society, it's trauma, it's the way life is, it's generations of this stuff. So get a therapist. Yeah, that's the main point. Somebody said, what would you recommend for someone searching for mental health help? That's good.
So I would say for us, I am a therapist who's in a chair. So I know that working with people with disabilities, they love working with me just because it's nice to see someone who's been through it. But don't be discouraged if your therapists are not in chairs. I would say our injury is very traumatic. So as you're looking for a therapist, try to find one who is trauma focused. And if their training involves trauma work, because that's really going to be important for our process. A lot of what we go through, even the resilience of, I got this, I'm a badass, I don't need help, that's a PTSD response. Like, that's just a trauma response. So, if your therapist is trained in trauma, then they will know, okay, so you are inhibiting the response of fear and sadness by, I don't know, overdoing it with strength. So make sure you find a therapist who's trauma focused. Um, you can either do Psychology Today, Latinx Therapy Registry. I think, yeah, I've talked about a couple of those. And you look to see that they have filters or descriptors. Try to find a therapist that takes your insurance. If they don't, find one that's a sliding fee, because they will try to work with you and tailor it to your price range. And yeah, make sure that they know trauma, and that they've worked. They don't necessarily have to work with people in chairs, but just that they have somewhat of understanding of like medical models, if you can. If not, well, as long as they're trauma informed.
Mhm. Yeah, that's all great information. Finding a therapist can be hard sometimes. I've talked to people where they're like, yeah, I went to my therapist and I didn't like them. I didn't feel the vibe, and it's like, okay, then you give up and there's no more therapists. But it's like, no, sometimes you have to search. Like, right when you meet somebody, that person isn't your best friend forever. Like, there's not just like every single person you click with. Sometimes you have to search a little bit, and it's a little bit of a process, but you have to start the process in order to get it going. Don't give up. Don't let that discourage you.
We tell people it's like dating. Like, you're gonna have to try it out. And I mean, I know we share my information on here. Please feel free to reach out, DM me, and I can talk to you. I can't treat you if you're not in the state of California, but I can help you out. If you tell me what's going on, then I can help you filter out therapists.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, Jessica. This was a great show. I love getting to learn more about you and getting to just pick your brain and hear all your wisdom. I think like we all appreciate it on this channel and with our family. You come with so much, just energy, and we can feel it and we love it. And we love just your perspective on life. This injury isn't easy, and it's hard, and sometimes you feel like you're the only one feeling this way. And I love that you come on here and you reassure us, month after month, that we're not alone, and that it does get better, and that we can fight harder and we can keep pushing, so thank you.
Period.
Okay, guys. So that's it that we have. Make sure that you go check out the live2roll.org website. We fixed it up so you can go on there and choose the size of your t-shirts. Make sure to go get your t-shirts and rock our merch. Ashley has on our sweater over there, looking sexy. Love it so much. Nice. Yes, we have all that. We have beanies, it's getting colder. We have the girl shirts. We have all kinds of stuff on there. So make sure to go check it out. And also make sure to come back every Tuesday at 3:30 for the guys show, and every first and third Thursday for the women's show. We appreciate you guys watching us. If you guys are watching after the live show, make sure to leave a like for us, please. We appreciate it so much. The algorithm definitely moves our videos up the more comments or the more likes that we get. So even if it's just a comment saying hi, or just something that you liked inside the video, maybe a quote that we said, we really appreciate you commenting down below on our actual YouTube video. And yeah, we'll make sure to reach back to you. So thank you so much again for watching us. Have a great day. And that's it. Bye.